today. But I'm going to let him introduce himself because I know y'all been waiting for him.
Man, I appreciate you having me, first of all.
Definitely.
It's good to be out here. My name is 19 Keys. That's what I go by. 19 Keys of unlocking your mind, unlocking your pattern of thinking, universe analysis, all these different problems.
How did you even choose the name 19 Keys?
I actually got the name as I was impressioned by a quote from Master Muhammad about in the 30s, 17 million original people and 2 million Indians. And that's basically it said 17 million black people, 2 million Indians at the time, saying that that's 19 million locked minds that need 19 million keys to unlock those minds. And I think about what leaders do, and all of the leaders of the past and all the leaders of the future and all the ones that we remember through our history is always trying to enlighten those people. And so that key represents that knowledge, it represents energy, it represents chi that you can give to a person to help unlock them. So it's sort of like Malcolm X had a pimp giving him knowledge and then, or a red as a pimp and giving him knowledge and unlocking until he can become Malcolm X.
So how do you feel that you're gonna unlock these people that are definitely unaligned to what's actually going on right now?
Well, the only way that a person can really become unlocked is if you have to have energy in the mind. That's why they call it enlightenment, because light is energy. So there's certain thoughts that a person has when a person becomes conscious. That's electrical thoughts. That's electrical energy in the mind. So what I like to do is give people knowledge that becomes applicable. You can look at this water, right? And water is one of the only elements that can have so many different states. That means it can be liquid like this, it can be cold, it can be solid, or it can be like steam. But the only difference is how the protons in the water are arranged. But the elements and the makeup of it is exactly the same. So I look at a person where they are, and I say all you have to do is rearrange the way a person thinks, and then they can get to a different state of consciousness, a different level of consciousness. And making people aware of different systems of thought, different systems of thinking, whether you poor and you want to become money conscious, now you're thinking like a rich person. Whether you're depressed and you become conscious of enlightening thought processes or things that you can use psychological tools, now you become conscious of your psyche. And there's different levels of awareness for each and every one of us. It just depends upon what we're aware of. And being woke is just not enough. We have to, I like to say, replace the word woke with work. Because that which you have to actually use in order to build yourself. And the greatest thing to build is self.
How long did it take before you became woke to what was actually going on?
Well, I was woke.
What does that mean also?
I was woke at birth, so
okay.
For me, the idea of being woke is more so someone who's asleep to the conditions and the plights and the things that's going on around them. But then there's different levels to it, right? Because there's lower consciousness and then there's higher consciousness. You have your lower self and your higher self. Each person, when we walk into a room, depending on what our focus is or what our level of awareness is, we're going to notice different things. If you're in a meeting with an exec and you know the language of business and what they're speaking about, and they can be talking to a rapper, and he's thinking they're giving them a good deal on, a contract, but you listening to the language between them because you're aware of the language of business and you have the experience, you know when a person is getting played or when someone is getting a good deal. So it's different levels of awareness, and learning different language gives you new level of awareness. So if I learn assets and liabilities and financial system and what monopolies are, things of that nature, now I'm becoming financially aware. And that awareness gives me a new power to control that which I'm aware of.
So what if you don't have the intellect to actually get to the higher being? Like how do you obtain that? Like what do you do?
Study, learn. Learning is earning. You know what I mean? You have to pay attention, you have to spend time. So what I like to do is, for me, I'm on a constant journey of learning. Life is about the journey, not the destination. Only destination of life is death. So you have to go through different phases of birthing yourself into a new person. Your body goes through a new birthing, your cells rejuvenate, your organs rejuvenate over time. Your mind has to consistently elevate. Tupac said it best, I think. He said, thug life will always be in me, right? I got to thug life, but that's like high school. You keep your diploma when you graduate, it doesn't disappear, but there's another level to graduate at. And so if every person look at their life and say, wait a minute, there's another point, regardless if you're an exec, you're a billionaire, wherever you at, I can still graduate, I can still go to another level. Then you have to ask yourself, how do I get there? So one thing I like to do is I like to imagine my future self. Right, it's August, 26? August 26th, or whatever it may be, but 2019, August 26th, I want to be a different version of myself. Now, there's two things I can do. I can either rob myself or invest in myself. I can invest in a future person I will become once I get around to a different point in time. So all the activities that I do, whether I'm being responsible or whether I'm procrastinating in life, is either investing or robbing my future self. So I imagine my higher version of self, and then, I have a conversation in my mind more so, how do I get to you? How do I get to that person that does have a higher conscience, that's more intelligent, that has more money, that, have these things going? So I think about it, and you have to build yourself up consistently over time. So every time that you learn something, then you are growing your future self.
How do you keep yourself on track to actually move in that direction? Because I don't think that would be easy. Because I've seen some people that it might take them to get somewhere. They don't have that training. They don't have that capability. They're not competent enough to be like, this is what I'm going to do on a day-to-day basis. What's the 19 keys day-to-day basis to actually obtain that? From morning to night, like, this is my regimen. This is what I use to actually get there, to securing what it is that I need to get to in 2019.
I was talking about this, but I consider 2019 to be my year of keys. I put in the work now to unlock everything next year.
Okay.
And then look at it like this, right? Key is someone that you have in your life to help you unlock your potential. A book that you read that just changed your life, that was a key for you. So a lot of people, like you said, don't have keys in their life. They don't have someone that's giving them this knowledge, this wisdom, this understanding, this intellect. And I empathize with people at all different levels, because like I said, I was born this way. So people that I grew up with, whether it's in West Oakland or South St. Louis, it was people that jumped off the porch in the street and the environment ate them up. And they didn't have anyone in their environment besides me that would even introduce them to any self-knowledge. So it's more so the operation of trying to turn everybody in the world to become keys, because most people's potential is locked up. Though it's kind of like Cardi B as a stripper and Cardi B now. It's like, where's that transition phase to where you can get to your higher version of reality? So it's about managing self. Everybody's their own organization.
So let me ask you this. Let's just go back to, St. Louis. You said you left at 2, you went to Oakland. So during that time period of you actually growing, was there any time where this was never your thought process on what it is that you're doing now? Was it like you might have been in the streets, you might have been, you know what I'm saying? Was it like what actually you was doing before this form of 19 keys? Like what was the life like before you got to this point where you're like, all right, this is what I'm changing into, this is meant for me, this is my call?
I had about 4 cases growing up. My last case was when I was 19 years old. Growing up in Oakland, I seen it was a whole different paradigm that I grew up in. Black Muslims ran Oakland when I grew up in it. And I seen a black man with power, a millionaire, who had his own security service, had his own health service, had his own school, had his own, bakery. And then one thing that they did in Oakland, this is the history a lot of people don't know, but it was over a 40-year span, to where the black Muslims ran Oakland. They would have all black motorcades driving through, jumping out, doing drilling and things of that nature. I've always seen the establishment of black power, but at the same time, when we would leave that school and that setting, we'd go straight back to the hood in West Oakland, staying on 24th Street. So it'd be the duality of growing up with the Muslim consciousness or, in the Nation of Islam, and then going back to the streets in West Oakland and having to fight and fend off with local gang members and things of that nature. You ain't understand nothing of what you talking about being a Muslim. They're trying to make jokes about the final call of Benjamin, not knowing that they were showcasing their ignorance and not knowing that it wasn't a thing that you can bully, because it wasn't anything about being lame and square. It was about being your more tougher version of self, the more masculine version, because all the brothers I grew up with was tough and gangster. It was just that what they was gangster for was directed in a different purpose. It wasn't about killing black men. It was a lot more so protecting and restoring power amongst us. And so for me, there was a time where, and today I'm still in the streets, because that's where the people are. So it was never a time that I wasn't in the streets. I'm still in them and always have been. I'm not in them in a lower form of consciousness, though. It's in a higher form of consciousness. But, I had my cases, I grew up with individuals just like anybody else, because everybody else around them was Christian or whatever they was, atheists, or just niggas doing whatever they do. But having that duality of consciousness always allowed me to interpret and understand what I was doing, the environmental factors that make us who we are, and therefore I always had the ability to reflect and not have to make the same mistake twice. So after that last case at 19, you know, that was a case that I went through. We had a 6-month trial. They had extradited me and had me going through the airport with chains on my feet and things of that nature. And that was a humiliating process. But what I learned from that was this. I learned how knowledge was power. Because at that time, I was able to apply all of the things that I had learned in life in order to beat that case. I was telling things to my lawyer to do in order for me to get off the mistakes that he was about to make. And I'm like, nah. Because I started reading about, you know, where the whole legal system and that jargon comes from, and dialogues of Plato and things from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it was one of those times where I was actually able to apply the knowledge. And so it wasn't about, oh, you call yourself a God. It's more so about proving things. Because if you're a God, let me see what God would do. And I always think, damn, there's a higher version of myself and there's a smarter version of myself that can always get out of this situation. So I have to figure out how does that person think and what tools does that person have. So when we was able to beat that case, that to me, for one, I was never going to go reverse again and get another case. I was never going to be in a situation that stifled me from having freedom, because freedom is one of those basic things that every human being wants. That's why we got the Black Dream Matter shirt on, because the Black Dream, the first dream that ever mattered in this country was when slaves wanted freedom. And then from freedom comes justice and equality, and that's what the crowns represent. Freedom, justice, and equality. So I become the change that I want to see in the environment every time I walk in there.
And you created, and so after that point, and I definitely see how you got to that point. So the paradigm shift is, tell me how you got to that. Because I'm reading your mind, he's paradigm good there, the shift, and I'm like, well, this got to be big, and like that's what kind of really intrigued me to actually sit with you today, because it's like I just want people to actually see and hear your side, because I know, like I told you, I seen you on Instagram, and I just seen that it was something powerful that was being delivered to the people. So tell everybody what that means, the paradigm shift.
Man, we changing the frequency. You know, what you do frequently becomes your frequency. So the paradigm shift is that individuals who are solution-based thinkers and who actually have operations that they're moving about the world and creating change. So I brought my brothers here today because it's not about what I do, it's about what we do. Ego is usually what stifles organizations, leadership, you know,
yeah, we just talking
all
about
of that. So it's not about, it's hard to get rid of the ego, so instead we transform it to the we go. It's what we done together, what we doing together. I can do something by myself all day.
You gotta coin that. You gotta coin that.
It's already coined. It's already coined. It's already stamped in the video.
That's the ego.
Yeah, it's because imagine this, a person to brag like I did that, or we always look at history and see great men, and we talk about what they did as if they did it by themselves. Well, who are those men around them that also deserve credit, that also continue to live, that wasn't assassinated? But history is stingy, and history is selfish. But also when you point to one person, let's say that that man has faults and get caught up in some scandal, then everything that came from him, people start to throw away and it becomes their excuse not to follow the truth. So instead, if we all collectively come together and unite, and it's not about me, but I got my brother Ben X, I got Rizza Islam, I got Pop Darby, my brother Bashir Music, I got Derek Grace, you know, and who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody. Colossal. It's a lot of us.
Right.
But the point of it is that it's not we not just no conscious men. We not over here debating with each other.
Right.
We out here trying to figure out what solutions and how do we change the program of thinking of our people, and what can we use to showcase our change. So how can we come together and do that?
So let me ask you this: is it a task to actually deliver this message to the people? Because like you got, like you said, New York was like they welcomed you with open arms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've seen how these things can transpire, because it's like, all right, this person wanted to teach you about the Nation of Islam, he want to teach you about this, he want to teach you about that, you got Jehovah's Witness knocking on the doors, this, that, and the third. What's the move that you make? Like, what's the thought process that you have to meeting a person like me that really don't know what you got going on, and you to actually explain that to me? Because I know it's going to be hard. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like non-believers, they might not understand. They might get thrown off by the moon and the stars and all that stuff like that. They might not understand, so they probably be like, all right, what you talking about? How do you actually deliver that to the people that doesn't really understand what it is that you're coming to deliver, so they don't understand?
I don't speak to people where I'm at. I speak to people where they are.
Right.
So if I wanted to connect something with you, I can use a lot of music analogies all day.
Right.
You know, I can, you know, break something down about the frequency of music and how that controls the mind, how they get tracked into people, and why musicians and rappers are leaders. And why it's important that they have that influence in people with the opposite agenda or a dissimilar one has that same influence. And why it works from a marketing standpoint where you complain about Larry Conan saying that I want to fund my capitalist agenda regardless if it's going to be harmful to black culture or not. This is something I can use to continue to capitalize off of. So I say, okay, that's a blueprint for success. Instead of getting their agendas funded, we said we'll fund our own agenda. We'll get individuals that we can put in front of the culture that help influence our culture to move forward instead of backwards. But we will complain about a guy like that and post him up, but then say you love what I do and not post me up and we focus on negativity instead of positive things, things that are actually solutions. We're so stuck on the problem that we distracted so much that we never actually get to the solution. So for me, I just related to what the people have going on. And I related to your level, and that's why it's the 19 keys, because I can meet you at the level 1, you know what I mean, or I can meet you at level 9. Or somewhere in between is something that I can use, but when I add that up, it's going to break down to 10, and then it's going to come back down to that 0, give you that comprehensive understanding.
Definitely.
I don't know if that makes sense to you.
I
might have to rewind and watch that twice.
No, I definitely get that. So, what's the journey for you now? What's the journey for you now? You just sat with David Banner over a couple of projects over a couple of days. What's the journey for you now? Like, how do you move forward from here on out?
Well, we on a tour right now. We on the Shifters tour. And me and my brother Ben Nash and Rizzo on the Shifters tour, we're moving around. And we changing the pattern of thinking of people provide solutions consistently everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, we're going to have applicable knowledge. We're going to help a lot of these young children and geniuses when they have no guidance. And so that misguidedness, you know, leads them to produce whatever as a byproduct of being misguided. And one of the things that we want to do is, for one, I'm getting more harder on myself because I don't ever want to get in this stance as some motivational speaker because motivation without instruction is dangerous. You know what I mean? You can motivate a person, get them ready, but you don't tell them how to further go and how to really use that information to go further. So I want to continuously change these old paradigms that we have, these old habits, these old references of thought, and I want to showcase. And we're doing it like my brother Derek Gray starting school, you know what I'm saying? We got streaming service, black streaming services, black on demand. We trying to put together, do some real estate. We trying to do things like Jay Morrison doing with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. See, I shot all these things out on purpose because I want people to understand that it's not about me, it's about all of the solutions that's working on. And it's getting away from, oh, he's Christian, he's Muslim, he's atheist, they can't work together. No, we eliminating those lines completely because we all still going for that same goal. You know what I'm saying? We all still talking about future building activities. You know what I mean? Black excellence, black liberation, whatever it may be. We may be using different lanes, but we're going in the same direction. And so younger children say, oh, I actually don't have to divide from him because he's a Muslim. He's rolling with somebody who's Christian right there. You know what I mean? I ain't got to divide from him because I got tattoos and he's going to judge me. No. You know what I mean? We did an interview with Pinky the other day. You know what I mean? Because it's not about, you know, how we divide with people, it's how we bring them together. And so if we can have a showcase of 2019 where we really show the results of our efforts, we helping people quit their jobs and get into entrepreneurship. We have like my brother Pop Dog, we have Unity as well, which is a collective resource of microfinance and black businesses and things of that nature. It's a multitude of things, so it's not one. But that's why I say the paradigm shift, because the paradigm that we currently live in, we know how many problems exist in this one. And I want to get to the opposite side of that point to where we can start referencing saying like, wow, this used to be that way. And now it's this way because of what them brothers did or what them sisters did together. And one of the biggest things we can shift is your mentality because your mind represents your world. We may live on the same planet, but we live in different worlds because each and every day we got different thoughts and see different things. So if we can align our minds to the same solution and the same point, then we start to change the world daily. So I consider myself a world changer. Because if I change your mind, I change your world, I change your life.
Definitely. So we're going to go to a quick break and we'll be right back on the Padded Room on RollinOut.com.
yourself. You know what I mean? But like I say, when you become a protector, a provider, and a producer, those are things that start to qualify you as a man. You know what I mean? Now, a producer, you got to look at it like this because also what's in your mind, if you have the ability to take what's in your mind and create it in reality, that's an act of manhood. That's an act of willpower. That's an act of control over self. So let's say if you smoke weed, right, and you want to stop smoking weed, you tell yourself, I'm going to stop next week. Next week hit and you can't actually stop. Who has control over you? It's your environment after that, because you don't have control over your own will. Now, a person can take it into a deep manner. When it comes to testosterone and things of that nature, it allows us, when you're in a proper balance of testosterone, it allows you to have a better balance over your willpower. It allows you to have a better balance over yourself. But a lot of things that we do consistently every day take us away from manhood and feminizes our ability to be men, to be protectors, to be providers, and be producers. So you have a lot of men that are procrastinators, or a lot of males that are procrastinators, so they acting like little boys. Right? You got your son, he procrastinating, not wanting to do homework, not wanting to take care of himself, not wanting to tell you about ideas, never producing them, things of that nature. Don't want to take out the trash, his little sister, unprotected, walking to school. That's a little boy. That's not a man. You know what I mean? So at the same time, we are living in a state of constant fear. And because that's what we propagate continuously all the time. My brother Dr. Wesley said that, he said, when we are always throwing out our failures, and we are always throwing out, okay, this black person got beat. Yeah, I mean, this black person got shot at by the police. When a person watches that, it feminizes them because it lowers your testosterone to see things that's fearful of you. So now it's hard for you to conduct yourself in the activities of a man. So it's hard for you to manage yourself. You know what I mean? And so therefore you start to react and interact when it's fearful. And therefore, okay, now, if you got a security guard, right? And you're famous and you walking down the street, right? And you have to look at it like this. If you know, and that person's taking care of you, so you ain't really got to worry about too much. You know that they're going to handle all of the problems around you. But let's say you can no longer afford a security guard and you find yourself without one. Then you have to step up to the place. You know what I mean? Then you have to learn how to secure yourself. So that analogy is more so how men and women interact with each other. Because men are no longer being men secure, women are becoming, having to step up in that place to secure themselves. But men don't appreciate women, they don't understand women in the sense that we have two minds. We have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. Our conscious mind is our male mind. You know what I mean? That's our leader. Our subconscious mind is the follower. Right? This is where our emotions and things of that nature happen, our intuition based. Our conscious mind is our logic, our conscience, our rationality. But if a person is very emotional as a man, and this is where a lot of people get this toxic masculinity from, because masculinity not backed by self-knowledge doesn't have a conscious identity, so it has less control and power over itself. So a lot of the young boys, and if you listen to the music and you wonder why they love the emotional music so much, it's because they're more impressioned by their subconscious mind, their feelings, how I feel about it.
They talk
right. And in our growing up, you more so like the lyrics, because you looking at it from your logic, your rational mind. Damn, how you put that together intellectually. That was dope. And then it taps into your emotion, like, yeah, now I feel good. I'm like glad you put that together. But the young boys like Tentacion, if you look at his music, it was more so depressing state, emotional state. And that's like it blurs the line between what's R&B and what's rap now. Because it's more impressioned by your emotions. And young people, you know, what impressions you, which is what molds the image in your mind. Everybody's under some impression.
So, just speaking of that, and I'm a DJ also, that's kind of...
I hope I got that clear from the manhood, though.
Listen, because I was about to, yeah, you know, it's so crazy because I know that it's really deep when it comes to that, because like I said, if y'all go watch him on YouTube, it's like 16 clips, y'all can actually see how he felt on that. I'm like, how do you find your balance when it comes to that? If we're thinking about how we become men all the time, and we think about, okay, the masculinity and stuff like that, how do you actually find the right female to actually feed what it is that you got going on? You see what I'm saying? Of course, you know, this is the teachings, this is the things that you're living by. How do you actually find, that balance? Because you can't always put it on you. It might have to be a percentage of her to actually make you understand why you need this balance.
That's absolutely true. I always say the cheat code to consciousness is to study the woman.
Right.
But all women have value, right? And if you look at a lot of things that women do, see a lot of women are great with the details. Yeah, I mean, men be great with the vision, and she'll tell you the details, and she'll tell you the details about your character that you need to fix in order to become that complete picture of a man that you think you are. So you may be thinking that she's nagging about you, but she has an intuitive sense of understanding of where she knows that if this happens, then there's going to be a side effect of this character, and that's going to happen. And so when you study women and you study those things about yourself, then you start to notice the details about yourself. You know what I mean? And then when you study how she has more of an emotional brain, you start to study that. So when you become emotional, now you can make a conscious decision to rise above emotions into the thinking of a God or a man, you can say. And so studying women gives you that understanding of self. And then when you appreciate her, you appreciate self. Right? So what David Banner was talking about, he said he don't see a lot of leaders talking about, or when we have the seminars or whatever people have, they don't talk about protecting the children enough. The children out here dying and being killed. The reason you can't get directly to the children because you have to appreciate where the children come from, which is the woman. Right? So if you appreciate the woman, you appreciate what comes from her, then you will protect those children because you love and you will protect her. And then protecting those children, and because you love her, is going to make you feel good about self. So all of that comes back down to self-love, self-appreciation. So I protect my own self-interest by protecting the woman and protecting the children as well. So being a man, when it comes to protection, and it comes to will, it comes to producing, it comes to all of these things, but not a lot of men are balanced in what we can call that masculine divine. Some believe in the matriarch, women should rule, some believe in the patriarch, men should rule. But I believe in the God triarch, which means men and women are ruling side by side. And if you pick the right woman, you pick the right destiny.
So y'all heard it here first, man, on rolling out the pattern room, man. I just think that we might have to do a part 2.
Yeah, I got the shifters with me, man. I have to get my brothers in.
Definitely. So we're going to come right back after these messages. We definitely have another guest on deck. So make sure y'all stay locked before we go. Let everybody know how they can follow me on social media.
19_KEYS, 19keys.com. Make sure you also tap into my brothers Ben, X, President Islam, Pop Darby, Bashir Music, Colossal, Derek Grace too. You know, everybody. If you follow me, you see those guys on my timeline. It's about us, not about me. So let's get tapped into this week.